education, we are giving people the opportunity to lift themselves out of poverty. And that's the beauty about education. Once you got it, you are now participating or contributing to your own exit out of poverty.
Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation, which was then called Shanduka Foundation, decided to partner with Kagiso Trust because we realized that they were a like-minded organization. And our view at the time was that we have been implementing a whole school development model through Adopt a School Foundation, and we wanted to take our model to the next step because we view ourselves as model builders, and we figured that with Kagiso Trust implementing the Best Motheo Schools program, there were components that if we come together to form KST and taking the best of both models, we could come up with one program that could improve schools in a district-wide. And that's why we formed KST, to implement a district-wide whole school development program.
And the crux of the partnership is a rent-to-rent partnership. And looking at the budget of a province, a small province like ourselves, we don't have enough resources. And if there are people who say, I'll give you a rent on top of your rent to support schooling and infrastructure and so on, we thought that was a brilliant proposition.
When we looked at the opportunity that arose out of KST, given the work that the KST does, particularly in the Free State, but also elsewhere, we felt at the First Rand Empowerment Foundation, this was really in line with our efforts to invest in systemic change.
So the essence of partnership is making sure that when somebody you stretch the rent, you put in your part of the money and solicit support from the partnership in terms of financially, but also you solicit the partnership on the basis of the capabilities. As an organization, we cannot claim to be having all the capabilities, and that's where the partnership comes in, because then we can leverage on the skills variety of the partnership and ensure that we have a credible implementation process.
There is not enough space or time in government itself to innovate, to come up with new ideas. If you're an organization like KST and you're working in a public-private partnership with government, you're able to pilot new ideas and maybe on a smaller scale. And as you prove that those concepts or those ideas, in your working in partnership with government, you're able to scale them. That has a much bigger ripple effect. And actually it creates an incubation environment where all those new ideas can then be tested, can then be evaluated, and in turn can be replicated across a bigger system than if you are just an organization that was working only by itself.
The most important element was that because the program was aimed at improving the education system, it needed to have an equal partner in a Department of Education. And we went around the country looking for willing participants and willing partners, and the Free State Department of Education was the one that was most receptive into going into a partnership of this nature.
We were very delighted and we really felt special as a district among all 5 districts that we are drawn into this partnership. This was the initiative by our MSC, who went out, consulted widely, and finally entered into an agreement with KST. And he chose Fezile, Dabi and Motheo. And the reason he chose Fezile, Dabi and Motheo then, when he wanted to check, is because by that time both districts were ready to implement this model.
The level of delivery in education doesn't happen at national, does not happen at province, even though provinces have a competence in terms of the constitution to drive education. That education and delivery actually happens at the district level.
It's very, very key that, when you start a program like this partnership with KST, and then you must get the total support of all the role players and stakeholders. And then that's what we exactly did. And then because we understood that the district director is not going to be the only role player. And then the department officials are not the only ones. But what is key are the school communities and then where KST is operating. Therefore, to ensure that there is going to be maximum support at circuit level, and then we introduce a program of consultations, and then whereby we consulted all the stakeholders, and then starting with the principal councils, and then coming to the teacher unions, because if you leave out the teacher unions in a circuit, then teachers are the ones who are the foot soldiers of the Department of Education. And then therefore it was important for us to ensure that they embrace and support the partnership.
Well, the biggest achievement between ourselves and KST has been, as you have realized, that we've been the best province in South Africa. But I think the cherry on top was when Fezile Dabi became the best district in the whole of South Africa. And this is a district some few years ago that was performing at 60%, 63%, 58%. And for that district to actually jump in terms of performance to 90s, right, and outperform some of the wealthiest provinces and districts in South Africa, I think it shows that if we make this partnership work, we can get beautiful results.
Being supported by KST and to get to the #1 spot in the country, and that is the main highlight. And for having been assisted as well to build stronger school management teams. And thirdly, to be supported on strategic planning. My DMT members in particular are now strategists. I can comfortably refer to them as strategists. They now can plan and operate and also engage at a strategic level, which are practices which we learned from KST.
We cannot have initiatives similar to this benefiting a few people, because it's about livelihoods of children. This is about taking people out of poverty. So the point is, who must be left out of being taken out of the cycle of poverty? So what's good for a learner in rural Limpopo must be good for a learner in Free State, KZN. So the main issue here is that we want every province in the country to experience this program to an extent that it can assist in changing the education system.